This is going to be an exclusive conversation on the next gen advantage, speed, scale, and smarter growth. I repeat the topic for one and all for the exclusive conversation. This is going to be about the next gen advantage, speed, scale, and smarter growth. I request all of you to please kindly settle down as we are beginning with the next panel. So if we all can please remain settled inside and take their seats. 6 people. Yeah. So to moderate this session, we have with us someone who brings alongside himself 3 decades of cross-sector expertise, including more than 15 years in shaping the real estate sector. He has led the company that he is a part of to become the youngest player in the construction materials ecosystem, which went public within just 4 years. Under his leadership, Aris excels in aggregating complex construction materials for infra and real estate, unlocking underutilized manufacturing capacities, and enabling equitable growth for small producers. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for Srinivasan Gopalan, CEO, Arisinfra Solutions Limited. Can I have, thank you, sir, already over here. Can we make a bigger round of applause for him, please, everybody? Thank you so much, Mr. Gopalan. To join him on stage right now, we have our next speaker. Under his visionary leadership, Nisus Finance achieved a historic milestone by becoming the first publicly listed fund manager in India via BSE. As a veteran with over 25 years of multi-continental experience, he oversees a current AUM of nearly 2,000 crores. NIFCO operates across India and the UAE, and with a focus on investments across real estate and urban infrastructure, NIFCO manages SEBI-registered company to AIF funds, Gift City Fund, and Dubai DIFC funds as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please clap it up for the founder, chairman, and managing director, Nisus Finance Group, Dr. Amit Goenka. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Goenka, please, as he makes his way to the stage? Thank you. My next speaker over here, following in the footsteps of his father, Mr. C.N. Govindaraju, founder and chairman of Vaishnavi Group. He plays a key role in driving the company's growth across residential development, sales, marketing, and customer experience, while also expanding Vaishnavi's commercial portfolio. He has been instrumental in strengthening investor confidence, enhancing customer experience, and advancing the evolution of brand Vaishnavi. Ladies and gentlemen, the executive director of Vaishnavi Group. Clap it up for Darshan. Govindaraju, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Govindaraju, for joining us. My next speaker over here has played a pivotal role in spearheading the company's growth across the country's underserved, or is it underserved? I beg your pardon. Sorry. Underserved, yeah. Hotel spaces, driving operational excellence and fostering the company's development. Additionally, he has also showcased his entrepreneurial spirit as the co-founder of ScootApp, a global marketplace for taxis. He has successfully secured funding from Startup Bootcamp and demonstrated his adeptness in financial management and regulatory compliance. Ladies and gentlemen, co-founder and CEO, Olive Hospitality, the hospitality wing of Embassy Group. Clap it up for the co-founder and CEO, Dhruv, Kalro. Can we all clap it up a little louder for Mr. Kalro, please? My next speaker over here is an architect and the director of Buildcon, where her work is guided by clarity, ethics, and the purpose as she leads the firm's business legacy with a forward-looking vision. She's also the founder of The Perspective Nazariya, a venture that explores different facets of truth across design, luxury, and contemporary thought. Ladies and gentlemen, please clap it up for Hafsa, Imran Khan, Director, Buildcon Private Limited. Thank you so much, Ms. Hafsa, for joining us over here. Can you all clap it up for Ms. Hafsa, please? Thank you. And my next speaker over here is an alumnus of the Indian School of Business, ISB, Hyderabad, and NIT, Allahabad. During his leadership positions across Lodha Group, Godrej Properties, Capital Land India, Shapoorji Pallonji Group, and now Bombay Realty, he has driven exceptional business outcomes across multiple asset classes in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi NCR, Chennai, in addition to leading Lodha Group's office in China as well. In his previous role with CapitaLand India, one of Asia's largest developers, headquartered in Singapore, he led the largest portfolio in India as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of Bombay Realty, Mr. Rohit Santhosh. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Santhosh, please? Thank you so much. Once again, incredible panel. Stage is set, all ready. And sir, over to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very interesting panel that we had earlier with Kushruji there. And I also want to say that this is the first time I'm moderating. So please be nice to me. And we have got all these diggage sitting here. So I'm already feeling very insecure. Amit bhai, you should have sat a little away from me. And Dr. Amit Goenka, a doctorate in finance. I mean, that's something which apne ko to वैसे ही नहीं आता है, and how do you get PhDs? I really don't know. So let's quickly start. We'll be very informal because that's the only thing I know. Rekha forced me to wear a jacket, otherwise I would have been just on my t-shirt. So Amit, quickly I'll start with you. I mean, you have always been an inspiration to me. You did your listing maybe 5 days before I listed my company. So you have always been ahead of the curve. So our topic is the next gen, speed, quality, etc. So tell me, what according to you is speed in real estate? Is it speed of execution, speed of launching, speed of borrowing money, or speed of repaying money? So what is it according to you? What is speed? And where are developers consistently getting it wrong? I think right from the definition of speed.
So thank you, Srini. Just for clarification again, I've actually learned the sector from you.
Oh, so, that's nice of you.
From the time you've built large commercial real estate platforms to now doing development as a service to disrupting concepts at the core level. So thank you for the humble, So in all humility, honestly, I don't deserve what you've said. I think the sector has transformed significantly. We've seen a paradigm in the last 4 or 5 years. And what we're effectively dealing today is a VUCA environment, clearly geopolitical environment around us, and inability to predict or see clearly what's going to come next is obviously is a very big determinant for us. I think it's great. At least we're one woman panelist in a women's event. So I was feeling a bit, I was feeling unsecure myself for a long time. So. And again, now with the next gen next to me, which are sharper, faster, bolder, again, it's again a space of insecurity maybe, or maybe a space of pride to see what we are building in the next gen. Coming back to your question, speed. Of course, speed is very important. From our perspective as a capital provider, it is the decision latency speed, or compressed decision latency as to how fast we can say a yes or a no to a proposal. Because clearly, project economics are sensitive to time, to cost, to launches, and etc. And a yes or a no is as important as even getting a no. So the time to get a yes or no is, I think, the first and most important thing. The second is the time to actually, from the yes to the capital, without taking shortcuts, right? So, if you can do that in a matter of days or weeks, without taking shortcuts, for which we have something called as a pre-diligence stack. So we know exactly which micro markets we're handling, what development types we're handling, what kind of developers exist within those micro markets in those 10 cities. And so we already pre-built that within our evaluation metrics. So when you come in, we already are not asking you rudimentary questions, ki, what is going to happen in a Mulund, or what's going to happen in a Devanhalli. We already know what is happening in those micro markets. So we're really looking at very, very specific data points, which is effectively only 20% of the evaluation criteria, because most people tend to load a lot of research data ahead of us. So that's not needed. So I think clearly that. From a developer standpoint, I think speed is about turnaround and cash flow. Because finally, it's not an asset business, it's a cash flow business. Everybody talks about how big or how grand or how amazing that asset will be over a period of time. But that is not what speed is. That is not what the outcome should be. It should be cash flows. And we spend a lot of time trying to explain people the PV of what they're going to build in 5 years is actually much less if they sold at a discount and got it in 2.5 years. So it's all about margins. It's all about preserving value or enhancing value, not about, creating a Taj Mahal for your, for your, okay, so it's not a tomb. You're not going to create tombs, right? You're creating, lifelong assets. So I think speed in cash flow underwriting and how predictable that cash flows can be is, I think, very important. The second is the intervention of technology to accelerate outcomes. Most people will say, okay, I use my one, or I use X or Y or Z, but definitely they have not gone and said, can you do better? So you see people use PEB structures for tall buildings because it works, because it's a shorter structure, and it is still luxury and meets all the norms without actually having to do the conventional stuff, or people even doing precast because it's a SRA redevelopment, and if you don't need to do my one all the time. So I think it's just about speed of turnaround, and what works for your asset class for speed of turnaround is absolutely important, because that's again sort of being able to predict better inflation or other disruptive input assumptions. So I think speed of execution is very important. I think the third is their ability to quickly shift gears. People keep on chasing what was started 10 years ago without shifting gears. So your speed of nimbleness, the speed of at which you can be relevant with your products, with your launches, with your approach to market. For example, one of the recent interactions was we sold everything online, no sales gallery, no experience center. We didn't take 1 year to try and build all of that and launch. We launched it and it got sold. So because people are willing to transition from repeated real world engagements to taking an investment call, which is very believable because it gives you all the 360-degree parameters that you would need to experience it on a first-hand basis. So speed of change and speed of disruption, I think, is the third speed.
So I think very, very well said. The 2 points that I take home is, one is quick in, quick out, so that you don't see cycles. I mean, that is the biggest learning, I think, in real estate that one can have. And the nimbleness. I think that's a very, very valid point, how quickly I can change. If it's a truck, 90 degrees change, auto rickshaws can really do that job really well. So very, very good. Coming on to Dhruv, the hospitality business, I mean, we were talking about it and how you are into that segment where there is less competition and 85 to 90% of occupancy. I think that's amazing. And this belongs to a legacy group, right? Embassy, entering a you are into a fast evolving segment, right? I mean, you have to keep changing based on what is the customer preference. So how do you keep this? On one side, you have these residential projects going on, you have warehousing which is going on, which is more of the conventional one, and this one being a contemporary one where you have to really take those 90-degree changes. How do you manage this with the same culture being there in the organization?
Okay.
You're like a startup, right? You have to keep moving, hustle at all points in time.
So I mean, I think it's the best of both worlds, and I think it's also our biggest advantage. So Embassy adds a lot of value to us from a point of governance, compliance, long-term thinking, as well as long-term partnerships. But we're a startup, and we're working in a credible ecosystem, which is set by Embassy. But for us, speed is not being reckless, but speed is the ability to make decisions fast by removing the layers, to understand what the customer wants, and the ability to adapt. So I think in today's generation, you need both. If you only have speed, it's chaotic. And if you only have structure, it's slow.
So what I hear from you is there is complete independence to this division to work the way the industry wants you to behave, rather than imposing a culture which comes from a lot of other things where there is patience required, there is a lot of process, etc. that is required.
I mean, when you look at it, the nature of business is different, right? So we're much more agile. We're an operator-based business, while Embassy is a developer-based business. So I think we'll set up our own culture by learning from Embassy's culture. Let me put it that way.
Very, very, very well said. Darshan, I think I'm a fan of your dad. I have not seen many developers like Vaishnavi who keep it very simple and the main aim. And to add to it, he's one of the developers who understands PV, right? Otherwise, a developer के लिए 5 साल में 50 crore and 500 साल में 50 crore is the same thing. There's no concept of net present value or anything. So Vaishnavi has legacy and longevity. I think that's primarily because of the culture and the thought process of your dad. What is that one thing? See, for you, it's like Amitabh Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan, right? So how is it that, what is the change that you want to bring in? When you entered into real estate, there is already an Amitabh Bachchan sitting there, and you need to bring out some change in that. And what is that thing that you want to change? And what is that one thing that you will never change?
Thank you, Sriniji, for that. Hopefully, we make a better mark than Abhishek compared to Amitabh in that regard.
No, he's also making a mark in different
I'm sure. I just have
aspects.
higher standards for myself, hopefully. So to answer your question, I think the way the real estate industry is evolving, I think the decision-making process has moved from one which was instinct-based to today, I think we're deriving a lot of decisions from data, right? So you evaluate your location, you understand what kind of product would fit into that location, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, 2-bedroom, what sizes for those particular units, which kind of customer would end up buying there, what kind of amenities do these customers want at that particular location for that product. So it's a whole bunch of things that you really have to put your ears to the ground to understand. There is no longer a templatized model of real estate development. I think we moved on from the cookie-cutter approach where one size fits all. And that is primarily because of the kind of customer we're dealing with today. They're probably more informed, well-informed about competitors' products than you are. They thoroughly do their research. So when you approach them, you have to probably put your best foot forward. And the only way you do that is by getting all the information on hand and delivering a product that suits their requirements. So that's one thing that I think we should be. I think Amit ji also alluded to it. Dhruv also said that agility is key. I think another key thing is humility, to understand that we have to deliver what the customer wants and cannot force something down their throats, thinking that's what's best for them. So those are the things that we should be doing differently in terms of what we should do consistently, and in a similar manner is probably quality, deliver quality for the kind of bucks the customer's paying, and consistent on-time delivery. I think if those two hygiene facets are kept in check, the rest will follow. Everything will follow suit.
So basically, consistency is one, and the major differentiator is going to be, rather than a gut-based decision, now it's all going to be data-based, data-driven, etc. And that's what our company does. So we have something called a developer as a service with a software which predicts the probability of success of every department and also of the project. We should talk about it later on.
100%.
Coming on to Hafsa. Hafsa, I mean, I've seen Hafsa growing up in front of me. Father is a very dear friend. 10, 12 years back, she was doing her architecture. Now I learned that she has developed an accent as well. कहीं तो जाके आई है. हमारा तो यहीं पे माटूंगा दादर मुलुंड वाला accent है. So Hafsa, very proud, first of all, that I'm sharing the dais with you, and I really mean it. And even before you came, I was talking about you with others. You're building in an industry that hasn't always made space for leaders like you. I mean, an architect plus a woman plus, I mean, so many things. And बाहर से पढ़ाई करके यहाँ पे आए हो, धूल मिट्टी यहाँ पे खाने. So, what has that given you, and where has it shown up most in your work? I mean, how do you tackle these things? Because this industry, all said and done, whether it is construction, I mean, it is all male-dominated as well. हम कितना भी कुछ भी बोले, right? It is, and we all understand that. So how do you tackle that, and what has made you so successful? Pick up the other one.
Hello. Thank you, Srini. Of course, it's a pleasure to have you across. It's a full circle of life. I think you've seen me, a small little girl, just, hearing you out when you used to speak to Dad about, all these deals and everything. And coming to the point, of course, it's difficult being...
Do you get the accent? Please note that. Yeah.
So I did even Howard. I was just telling you, right? So anyway, coming to the point, I think... when I decided that I wanted to be in a construction-led business, I think it was more calculative. It's because, when dad, he gave me a choice whether you want to be a wife or, you want to be working. And I said, no, I want to be working and making mark for myself. And, my mom and my dad both have been very supportive of the decision that I make. Coming to your point, I think when you say leaders like me, I'm assuming, of course, it's a woman, it's somebody who's leading a business, and it's somebody who's also looking at developing other facets. So I understand numbers, I understand leadership, I understand business, which is still a plot twist for a lot of people in gray suits. So when I talk about it, I feel that, you always have to be driven to your goal. Everybody, whether you say it's man or a woman, cerebral capacity is always the one. I will never accept that, XYZ has more cerebral capacity than me.
Cerebral capacity is a good word I'm going to use somewhere. Yeah.
Please do that. It's going to help. So I think at cerebral capacity level, all of us are equal. And I think once you're focused on what you want to do and where you want to achieve, it doesn't matter where you're coming from or who you are. And it shows in the work, whether it's a project that we have delivered or whatever we are delivering, attention to detail, focused on your work, and to do what dad has given me or to leave a legacy. We are talking about next gen, speed, scale. Of course, we'll be diversing it a little more. But then it doesn't matter once you're focused and once, all of them have said, like, consistency, I think, is a major thing. We all have to believe and deliver that.
I wish you all the very best, Hafsa. I want to see you really, really grow. And well done. Coming on to you, Rohit, I think you're the multifaceted guy. You have been in every form of real estate and every asset class, if I have to say that. What, in your view, could contribute to smarter growth for Indian real estate? I mean, smarter, we have spoken about speed, we have spoken about consistency. Where does this smartness come into real estate? And we were speaking, I mean, most of the developers may not be educationally qualified, right? I don't want to be more rude than that here, but we have made a mark. I mean, the developers at least have made a mark on it. So your view on smart real estate?
Thanks, Srini, for the kind words, first of all. You see, for India to grow smarter, we need to start leading the world order and not just follow the others who are doing stuff. For example, you would have seen China. They became the world's leader in infrastructure, not by following the US. What they did is they set much higher benchmarks and then achieved that. What we are doing over the last many decades is we're playing catch up. The West does something. In a few years, we reach there. And I think we've been satisfied with that. But today, where the country is, the kind of talent that we've got, the kind of economy that we've got, I think we are very well positioned. It's high time that we start leading this whole thing for the world. We talked about speed a short while ago. Now, I'm not sure if many people would know this example. 100 years ago, there was this building called the Empire State Building, which was constructed in New York. I'm not sure if people realize it's a 102-storied building built within a year. 1 year. Google it. 13 months, and they built it. Now, how does it contribute to growth? You generally have commercial projects. You generally have, let's say, 5-year to 7-year ROI period. And let's say you prepone that by 3 years, it's a game changer.
He would love it. His IRR goes up significantly.
Significantly, yeah. So, is it possible for us to do it? Yes, it is possible, right? So that's one example. There are many other areas where I think we can lead. Maybe in speed of construction, we might not be able to be the best because we have our supply chain constraints. But there are many other avenues. For example, why don't we start, what's our biggest problem in real estate? One of the biggest problems is approvals. Why don't we get faster at that? Does it really take 2-3 months for anyone to scrutinize our drawings and make sure it is compatible? No. You got AI today. That can do half of our work, right? So can we think about setting new benchmarks in customer experience across the world? Yes, we can, right? Can we relook at the way funding is designed? We might be able to lead the way. So I think the way forward for us is clearly that it's important we stand in the front, lead from the front, rather than, follow that we've done earlier.
You're saying let's have our own Baidus and have our own
We should, we
Google
should.
and
Let's have
set our path rather than following the West.
Exactly. I mean, West, we got a lot to learn from. I mean,
Yeah,
if you went to
exactly.
Harvard, there's a lot to learn from the West. And even the Chinese, what I see, I spent a few years there in China, and what I see is they've learned a lot, and they build on that.
Yeah.
And then they jump higher.
But this is amazing. I was in the US when Empire State got listed. So I didn't know that the 102 stories was built in 13 months. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Coming back to you, Amit, I'm not going to leave you. You must be hearing hundreds and thousands of pitches, right? What really separates you from the genuine fundable business from the ones which are fashionable, where the bells and whistles, I mean, aata hai, promoters, we know promoters, right? They come, main itna kar dunga, main utna kar dunga. I am tight today, but my future is bright. So we see all kinds of developers there. So how do you differentiate the real project, the promoter, or it's the project, it's the promoter, or a combination? How do you segregate these? Oh, chalni kya hai aapke paas?
Like I talked about speed of underwriting, and therefore speed is important for turnaround for everything. You can't delve too much into something and force fit it or try and make it work. Either it works or it doesn't work. That has to be obvious in 5 minutes. Instead of looking at a 50-page presentation, in 5 minutes, can we understand whether it's going to work or not work? Counterparty is very important. Without that, then it's kite flying, and hopefully the kite will fly without having the requisite knowledge or experience. But so in 5 minutes, if the counterparty is great, if the fundamentals are great, if it is cash flow led, it is not a pipe dream, and it has all the check boxes of location, product mix, etc., then it works. I think it's that 5 minute. And if that's the first few pages we're seeing, I think that's reasonable, rather than getting into a longish narrative about what is likely to happen because of the 10-year infra push, etc., etc. That doesn't.
Those are the bells and whistles. कि यहाँ पे से मेरा 9 मीटर का रोड 19 मीटर होने वाला है.
So yeah.
मेरा already बात हो गया है.
Mr. Gadkari is going to change my fortunes one day, and therefore I'm going to put money on that future fortune that Mr. Gadkari is going to build for me.
Yeah.
And of course, that'll get built someday, but that's not where we are today.
Correct.
So we did not bet on the Navi Mumbai airport till about last year, when we knew the opening date.
Yep.
And we did not bet on that micro market. Everyone knew it's coming one day. And people went and invested, built, whatever, and obviously had a cyclicality to that business. So I think that's very important. The second is overuse of jargons. It's AI, ML loaded.
Wow, I love those AI, ML. I still don't know what it actually means. But yes, अच्छा लगता है सुनने को.
So overuse of jargons clearly means that you're trying to oversell, and it's not required. I mean, of course, if there's a demonstrated use of technology that has created a paradigm, that has improved KPIs, I think that's a great thing to have. And we welcome that before anything else. It'll help underwrite more efficiently and get better pricing and better risk managed outcomes. But that's not a freely used adage without understanding what it means. Most people don't understand BIM. Forget
Correct.
about everything else, right? And then
For a long time, I thought it's the beam that they're talking about, right?
So I think that's the second thing, is how competent they are to handle the next 5 years of volatility and technology disruption at a unit level. I think that's, then of course, when you look at counterparty, you're not just looking at two promoters or a family of promoters, you're looking at professional competency, because you're moving to an age of institutionalization and discovery very fast across all stakeholders. And therefore, it cannot just be promoters only. It's important to have promoters, which are very strong, but it's equally important to have a very strong second, third, fourth line, which actually delivers promises consistently for you. And I think that's really the third and most important thing. So I think those are the things that we watch out for. Everything else in terms of the future is bright, but I'm uncertain about today, doesn't work.
So Amit, according to you, it's a combination of the promoter. Also, one more important point that you brought in is the processes and the professionalism which is there, so that you can, it's easier to negotiate with a professional because he tries to be more amenable to the practicalities than the promoter. Because promoter to 55,000 feet above sea level, with due respect. I mean, you're the next generation, so you're not like that. So coming on to you, Dhruv, hospitality is like a marathon, right? We like all these 100-meter speed, sprint ho gaya, 2 minute mein ho gaya, and then how do you manage that? What is that patience level that you need? One is to build, get an operator, then to stabilize it. That takes a year or two. And then पैसा जो डाला है वो वापस भी आना है. So 8 to 10 year period. I mean, what is the kind of patience? How do you build that patience?
I mean, to begin with, we're an operator-driven business. So the way we function is the landlord actually invests and we just operate for a fee. But we're scaling exponentially. Today we've set up at least we have 60 live locations pan-India. But the way we've been doing it is by actually deploying technology, obviously, and standardization. So we standardize all our operations so that every property runs the same and customer experience is the same. Apart from that, what we also do is, from a customer's point of view, we don't want to standardize their experience, so we'd have a little bit of elements of, say, the paint scheme changes, the common areas change. So when the artwork changes. So whenever a customer actually walks into our property, they actually have a different customer experience, while there is some sort of similarity. So that's how we've been scaling up, and I think that's the way we're going to go as well.
Sure. Darshan, in my personal experience, I have seen the 2008 Lehman, I have seen the RERA, GST, I have seen ILFS crisis. I have seen the more you want to scale, the more companies have actually broken. I mean, the faster you want to move. And also, I think the definition of speed has also been paisa available hai to everything can be done in real estate, right? We have seen that in 2005-06 when a lot of FDI was coming in, pure equity was available. Then before IL&FS, money was just available, NBFC, ek ka topi, dusre ke topi pe dalo, repay from here, pay them back, etc. So what do you build when you talk about a sustainable scale? What do you build first? Do you build the brand? You build the team? You build the systems, or how does it work? And when does growth actually become dangerous? See, for example, I was just talking to a few of you. When the price really goes up significantly, and which we have seen in Bangalore, right? Today there is a slowdown. That scares me. When everyone wants to launch, you go to Ghatkopar, every second building is under redevelopment. So at what stage does it scare you that कि हाँ भाई अभी थोड़ा संभालना चाहिए?
So to answer the first part of your question, I think what needs to be set first in place are systems within a company. Then you get
that's a very boring thing, right? कि system बनाते रहो जब भी आएगा तभी.
that is basic hygiene.
Yeah.
That needs to be there.
So very, very well said. So that तो उसके बिना don't start.
Without that, exactly. And you need a team that believes in that system, who understands it, implements it, refines it. Constantly, it's evolving. The system and team keep evolving hand in hand. And eventually, the brand then becomes the output of those people. And
so brand is an output. Just by advertising, there is no brand that happens.
Absolutely not, because you need to have successfully delivered over the course of 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, and for your brand to even get recognized as a brand. So prior to that, you need those systems and those people in place to take the brand to where it is. So I think it goes in that order: systems, teams, and then
who can have a better brand than Vaishnavi? And every time Kohli hits a 6, you see a V there, right? That's Vaishnavi Group. So that's the kind of branding that Dad has built over a period of time. Very well said that brand is an outcome rather than something. I've seen so many companies saying that brand building is a line item. And I always find it amusing. Right? Brand building cannot be a line item. Brand building is the outcome of what you do, timely delivery, so on and so forth.
Like you said, a brand cannot be built by someone, right? It gets perceived.
Exactly.
By external people, as in when you deliver.
Very, very, very well said.
With regard to scale, and especially in our real estate business, I think scaling without cash flow visibility is probably where it gets dangerous.
When you mean cash flow, it's not loan, right?
Not loan. Exactly what I'm saying. So it's when your launches probably outpace your handovers or deliveries.
Absolutely.
That cycle, if that
That's
is
the
kept in
real
check,
equity.
that is the real system that one needs to follow or track to in terms of scaling. I think scaling without promoter involvement is also an orange flag, I would say. That promoters' bandwidth could differ. It could be 3 to 5 projects for some, it could be 7 to 10, it could be 20 plus for the others. But the promoter's involvement, I think, is essential while scaling. Without that, I think it becomes a little dangerous. So these are the two facets where I think scaling becomes dangerous. When your launches outpace your handovers and lack of promoter involvement.
Sure. Coming on to you, Hafsa. First of all, I forgot Eid Mubarak to you, and we are still waiting for all the biryanis and you said Firni is what? Outdated. Something else you want to give us?
Yeah, I think Firni is out there. I think Sheer Kurma is...
Sheer Kurma. Okay, we don't mind. We don't mind that. So I know I am Buildcon, right? I know the philosophy. I mean, it's build your organization brick by brick. Do you really believe that it's important to scale at all? Or you go really deep into... So there have been companies who say that मैं 4 projects से ज़्यादा एक time पे नहीं करूँगा. Let me finish it, get the cash flows in, and then be a friend to the customer rather than just chase growth. So what does I am Buildcon believe in?
I think you have the answer to this because you already know that, but then I'll deep dive into this. I think...
No, at least for all of them,
Of
right?
course,
It's
of
important.
course, that's why I'm, for them. So I really don't believe that, a developer should scale aggressively. It's because there has to be a deeper understanding of the market, right? Any smarter developer will do 2 things. One is deep dive into the market, the people, and the end user that he's catering to. And the second would be scale selectively. So scale is something that multiplies everything that is existing. If you're scaling wrong and if you don't have a deeper understanding of the market, you're scaling a mistake. But if you know the understanding of the market, you're scaling advantage. And if you really see the top global developers, they are scaling even by volume and also because they know what the end vision is. So I think just scaling and making a factory out of your, name doesn't really help, because at the end of the day, the relationship is something that matters and will last longer.
So I'm learning a lot. So you're saying scaling a mistake and scaling an advantage. I think very, very well said, Hafsa. Going on to you, Rohit, right? You have run data centers, solar plants, business parks, co-working under one roof. Indian developers, I mean, including his thing is, 3 साल में पैसा वापस आना चाहिए. We are more residential, right? 100 rupees for construction, को खाली 30 rupees का loan लेना है. बाकी 70 rupees will come from the residential sale. So, do you think there will really be a shift, or we can't learn those games which you have? And how do we actually gain speed to come near you?
See, it's like this. We're talking about multiple asset classes, as you mentioned. Okay. Many Indian developers who are focused on residential, they're looking at these as alternate asset classes. Okay. Now, there's more curiosity than commitment to these asset classes. And there's a reason why that's so. It's not because the opportunity is not there. Opportunity, let's say, we're talking about data centers, logistics, you mentioned solar power plants, and a few other asset classes as well. If you look at data centers, India today generates 20% of the world's data. But we have less than 5% of the world's data centers in India.
This guy is amazing. He has got all the statistics, and he's just going to educate us more as we speak with you more and more.
Now, all I'm trying to say is, you see, there's a massive potential there. Now, this potential can easily be bridged, and that's why a lot of developers are jumping into data centers, right? Now, if you look at the other connected asset classes, if you just connect these links, a lot of, first thing is your data centers are big power guzzlers. They need massive, massive amounts of electricity. So if you look at solar power plants as a captive unit, because many of the MNC parties who are leasing out these data centers have now a mandate that the power has to be green power, which means apart from the data center opportunities that is there, you also have power generation opportunity, and something like a solar power plant is somewhere you cannot go wrong. I'm talking about captive power plants, where you have a data center or you have some other business park, you have a power plant which is supplying there, which means you don't need to do any marketing. It is all of the power is consumed. So the sun gives you the power, all of it consumed, you make your money. It's a model where very few can really go wrong. But then the question is, why are still people not jumping into these? My view, I've got two things in my mind. One is, structurally, we are aligned in a very different way. We want cash flows upfront, like Amitji was saying, right? These businesses are operations heavy. They've got longer gestation periods. So we need to get structurally aligned with the longer gestation periods to tap into these opportunities. That's number one. Second, whenever a large opportunity comes up, you do have a little bit of ups and downs. I see in the last couple of years, a lot of parties jumping into data centers, and then they see there is oversupply in the short term. But when you look at a period of 7-8 years of your ROI, you can't really talk about
20% of the world's data is with us, man.
Exactly. So it's not a big problem at all. So my view here is we need to start getting committed to these, get structurally aligned in terms of your funding, in terms of your teams getting aligned for operating these assets, rather than just launching and selling.
Amit, give us long-term loans, 10-year loan, equity loan, whatever. Equity loan, does it go well? Or?
See, I don't think there is a problem of tenor if the product demands it, not because inefficiency demands it. So if you're building a 10-year asset class, you talked about data center, I was discussing with the stakeholders at Yota. You know, it's been, what, 5-6 years. They're already valued at $4 billion, and they're getting, 20-year money.
Wow.
At 4.5 or 5%.
Wow. In rupee terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, capital chases safety and not tenor.
Sure.
So if your safety is long-term, then capital would love to be long-term rather than trying to
keep on redeploying.
Absolutely. So the risk of redeployment is far greater than staying put if it can be in a safer environment. So I don't think tenor is a problem, Srini. India has not shown tenor so far because of regulatory disruptions or geopolitical disruptions or many other external interventions which are unpredictable, and which is why capital becomes impatient, because you cannot predict what the next government is going to bring in terms of change or paradigm or whatever. And we've seen that at states, center, district level, etc. So I think that's, otherwise, I don't know why we cannot supply the $15 billion of funding gap today, because there is enough and more liquidity sitting in sovereigns, multilaterals, etc., who are earning today a blended return of 3.5 to 4% dollar. That includes, by the way, junk bonds investment also, which means the safer AAA investments are less than that. So they're obviously seeking safety, and which is why they're happy to deploy for the long term into growth economies like India. But India has not been able to provide a long-term capital solution for sovereign wealth. And that is why, it's fund-based or it is tenor-based, so that people can spot an opportunistic view on India RE, maximize it and get out.
So now you know why he's a doctor, right? I mean, so many words, I need to go back to Google, Amit. And Amit, coming on to you now, talking about the young generation, so much of AI, machine learning, and now it has become a fad. Anywhere you go, everyone speaks about it. Is it really happening at the real estate level, or is it just a slide in the deck?
Again, statistically, to take a leaf from Rohit, we are at $1.2 billion of investments in PropTech, likely to go to $6 billion over the next 5 years, with roughly a 20% plus CAGR growth. So clearly it's happening, number one. Number two, I've been a jury at several PropTech events in the last 3 to 6 months, and I've seen them actually work on the ground with some of the leading players in the country. They're not necessarily going for the global ERP, HANA, or with some of the more popular global solutions, because they are very, very Indian custom built. for the Indian conditions. And so I think definitely, I think there is a massive disruption in what worked yesterday is not working today, where PropTech is plugging in. But I've also seen it being used very loosely, like I was alluding to earlier. So for example, when it comes to the built environment, the ability to monitor real-time output and not look at post-facto event is very critical.
Amazing.
You get
that's really
data
really
after 3 months, and there's nothing you could have done to change it. But if you get real-time geo-satellite-based imagery on construction and quality, you are sure that your business plan is working or not working in real time to either course correct or allow it. Likewise, if you can do predictive receivable analytics of what is sold and is being sold or will be sold basis pipeline on CRM, which does data mapping on demographics and consumption patterns of your project versus micro markets, then you have a very high probability on where cash flows will occur and when, which is obviously seasonality based sometimes or product class based sometimes. And lastly, if you are able to 3D model outcomes, or make it lucid in terms of enterprise-wide understanding as to what the goals are and where the goalposts are and what the milestones are, and make it, dashboard based. So I think there are simple things like these which have made it easier for us to work with more tech-enabled enterprises who are deploying these strategies, who are using ML solutions to be able to give us a very predictable demonstration on why the project will succeed with what probability.
So very, very good. I mean, you touched upon a very important factor of predictability. I think the cost is high in real estate is mainly because we are not able to predict the outcome. It's not like a pharmaceutical. If you put in the ratio of ingredients, you get the output, right? You may be successful with the same project. I may be unsuccessful with the same project. Very, very well said, Amit. Now, coming on to the next gen, right? I see my daughters. One is 25, the other is 20. There's so much of technology that they use. And even before a breakfast is eaten, there is a photograph that is put in saying that, oh, this is looking so amazing. So there is a scare in this next gen because I know that it's just a poha, but it's explained in a manner that it seems something very, very different, right? So where you can fake the marketing, but not the experience, right? The experience is still the same, poha, namak kam hai, our same cook has made it. How do you tell real transformation from cosmetic change? I think this is a very, very subtle point, but very important point. I always check with my daughters, boss, ye photo leke kya karne wale ho aap? And the same poha or a vada is explained, a batter with fried and with a hole in the center. Arre apne vada hai. Medu vada is what we call. So how do we differentiate between the bells and whistles and actually the product?
So, I think true transformation is actually seen from operation excellency. So, it's really easy to find someone who can make a great website, have great social media presence, and even take great photos. That's one aspect of the business, but it's an important aspect of the business as that's the shop front that gets people coming and staying into the property. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you have a poor product, poor customer experience, when a person checks into one of our hotels, they'll probably realize that within 15 minutes. So I think the real transformation actually comes in from using technology today. And when we use technology to actually improve business model, customer experience, that's when it's really effective. So I think like the cosmetic changes is the easy bit, but nailing the operational part is actually the hard bit. So we at Olive are very operational heavy. Not when I say operational heavy, as in we are operational heavy, but we use a lot of technology. But we ensure that our standards are met in whichever property you go to, while having great photos at the property.
So ultimately, the basics. I mean, stick to your basics, do a good product, give a great experience, and all of these hoardings and all these LinkedIns. I mean, I have seen LinkedIns where a person पहला बोलते हमने नया office का पूजा किया. Then he has renovated one of the rooms and one more puja is happening. So the person on the other side, he doesn't have time to see all this. Arre, do office khol diya isne last 4 din mein. Many people have asked me, Arre, you're doing so well. Internally, I know what I'm doing. What am I going through? So these are some scares, but very well done. You're saying stick to your basics and do a good product and give a good experience, and that's what is going to sustain going forward. And that's what you also mentioned, saying that the brand is an outcome. Keep doing it nicely, with truthfulness, and very open to the customer.
But just to add to that, I mean, today, if you want to connect with the new generation, you have to do the social media aspect. You have to have a great.
So the poha has to be
has
put
to be taken
into
a photo,
the Instagram, right? Darshan, I mean, last two questions and quickly, I mean, even the time is running out. What's that one decision Vaishnavi made in the last year that company would probably not have done 5 years ago? And what did it cost you or unlock, or was it a favorable outcome?
So I think one point of difference that we've seen since the past 5 years is in our relationship with consultants.
With consultants.
Consultants, how we engage with them. So to elaborate on that, I think growth today has to be done smartly. It is the age of specialization. You get the best minds in, the best cooks to cook a broth. That's when it comes out absolutely perfect. So in that regard, what we have started doing is going beyond the contractual obligations with certain consultants, incentivizing them. So, for example, a structural consultant, if he can bring down a cost of construction by $100, share 2-3 rupees with them. If a channel partner, don't bid against each other for keywords. You do the outdoor bit, let them do the keyword bit on Google. So you're not outbidding each other and then spending more in terms of marketing.
Very true.
Fees, right? Work with architects to enhance daylight ventilation within a home. So eventually, a customer spending less on lighting,
electricity.
ACs, electricity.
Yeah.
Their OPEX, I mean, their maintenance cost comes out on the long term.
Absolutely, absolutely.
These kind of, this kind of thing, what does it cost you is the fact that you have to have an open mind to share some of the spoils with the consultants. What you gain, what you stand to gain is the fact that everyone's getting a better product at the end of it. You are constructing more efficiently at a lower price, hopefully.
Absolutely.
And in
More
the end,
sustainable.
and in the end, the customer also gets a better product.
Absolutely.
So by willingness to work with the best minds rather than doing everything in-house is what will...
So that is what you're saying in the last 5 years probably. 5 years back, we would have done everything in-house. Now there is a lot of opportunity, and why not use the talent that is available? Absolutely. I can see the young talents, how differently you guys think, and I'm really, really proud of each one of the points that you are mentioning. Hafsa, if a young developer, I mean, how young can it be, younger than you, ask you how to grow fast without losing the quality and the values, what would you actually tell them?
I think, Srini, I would, of course, advise them to grow with depth rather than achieve scale. It's because the next gen or our generation really lacks patience.
Absolutely.
Right? We don't have an appetite for patience. So I think learn your craft so well that even when you're not in the room, people remember who you are.
Amazing. I think that please give her a huge applause.
And I think there has to be an insatiable hunger for success. That lacks, the drive lacks, because we know we have somebody to fall back to. And that is something that, our generation is doing it wrong. We need to have that drive for success. And, at the same time, we can't lose the qualities that our, fathers or the generation or the legacy, that they have created. We can't do that. We can't lose it. So we need to have a drive, a calculative risk-making decision, and also be selective about, what we want to do and build relationships, because that is when people will trust you for a bigger responsibility.
Very, very, very well said, Hafsa. A quick rapid fire. One word, each of you. 30 seconds only. He's already come here. And यहाँ पे time is up करके, it's just hitting hard. One word for the next decade of real estate, and why? Quick.
Institutionalization and democratization.
Amazing. What about you? Quick. Keep the mics with you.
Going off of Amitji, I think consolidation.
Consolidation. What about you?
Mine was pretty similar, formalization.
AI driven because everything is artificial and people have, realized that everybody is an architect, everybody is a developer. But at the end of the day, they should also know that humans cannot, it's us who is building all of it.
I'd say integration. We need more integrated spaces than standalone projects.
Absolutely. The most overrated and the most underrated trend in our industry.
Overrated is luxury everywhere. Underrated is urban renewal at scale.
Very good.
Overrated probably AI in sales and marketing, particularly because it's been there for years together, or chatbot, etc. Underrated is sustainability-led design.
Sure.
For me, it's the same. AI, I think they use it everywhere. While for underrated, I would say operational excellency.
Very well said. I think that is the core that you have always maintained.
Very few things underrated. I think overrated and abused is luxury and I think approvals.
See, overrated, I think, discount-led sales strategies because they provide immediate incentives, but in the long term, they erode value. In terms of underrated, I think customer experience because we focus a lot on the immediate customer experience when someone buys it, but the entire life cycle of the possession, the whole thing needs to be looked at.
So very, very well said. One thing you want this audience to remember, Amit, when they leave this room. About real estate, of course.
It is maturing faster than we can imagine, and change is a constant.
I think
Pass.
the developers who will be rewarded are the ones who will deliver. So,
Absolutely.
Trust. The most trusted developers will be the ones who hang around.
Very, very well said.
I think India's growth story has just begun and there's business opportunity everywhere.
I believe in that. I really believe in that.
I'll just be very cliche about this. I think women are the next it thing about the real estate and we all will show and make it happen.
There's nothing cliche about it. We believe in that.
I think credibility and trust will compound faster than many other things going forward.
I completely agree. Thank you very much. I'm the oldest or the eldest. I call myself eldest rather than the oldest, but it's great to be with you guys. I enjoy my time with my daughters because I keep learning all the time, and that's the same feeling you guys gave me. Thank you for being in this panel, and I'm really honored to Realty Plus to have invited me to be a part of this really, really good panel. Amit, thank you for being there always.
Thank you, Srini. What a pleasure being
Same here.
able to chat with you today.
Same here, same here.
Thank you, Srini. I think the vadas and the pohas will finally make sense to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so. I'm going to be more intelligent when I go back, and I hope my kids acknowledge that.
Thanks, Srini. Thanks, everyone. Thanks to the entire audience.
Thank you so much. Conversation that started with real estate has ended with food. Wow, everyone's love. Give them a bigger round of applause, please. And I'm going to be requesting the presence of Mr. Santhosh Wadekar, luxury interior architect, to please kindly come up on stage and do the honors for us by giving the memento. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Wadekar as well, please? Thank you. I'll request you to please hand over the mementos to everyone. तालियों की गूंज रुकनी नहीं चाहिए, ladies and gentlemen. If I may request, let's keep the momentum going in. You know the drill, everybody. Come on, 1, 2, 3, yes. Fascinating conversation indeed, and I hope any questions anybody, if they have, please feel free to connect with them in the networking zone outside, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to take on those questions. Thank you. Thank you so much. And time for the very special group photograph with all of you, so please request all of you to come forward. I'll request you to please stay as well, Mr. Wadekar, over there for the group photograph. Yeah. Now is the time for the special paparazzi moment. Left, right, left, whatever you want to do. They're all here. It's sir. Your swag is there, irrespective of tummy in or out. How does it matter? Taaliyon ki goonj, everybody. Come on. Thank you so much.